good. It was good. Dan, don't take disrespect lightly, you know. Don't sit on the table telling me we can go now and do all of this and that. Try to call me out.
Right, can we call that a cut?
Anthony Joshua finds it disrespectful when Dubois calls him out during an interview, but Denial Dubois' trainer Don Charles thinks that AJ first prompted him to call him out, which is also normal in boxing. But first, let's check what boxing experts and promoters think of this upcoming, much-awaited fight. After that, we will uncover the reason why Denial Dubois called AJ out in the interview that triggered AJ, and he considered it disrespectful. Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, also seems quite excited about this legendary fight, calling it the biggest night in British boxing. Recently, Alexander Usyk announced he was vacating his IBF title, with the chance of making Daniel Dubois the new IBF champion. This has added more excitement to Dubois' upcoming fight with Anthony Joshua. Eddie is thrilled about the idea of Joshua potentially winning the IBF heavyweight belt and becoming the undisputed world champion. He stated, "I love it because AJ gets to dethrone a champion when he becomes a three-time world heavyweight champion. Every one of his victories would have been against the world heavyweight champion. Not a belt, not anything like that." He further added, "So that's important, and you know, for me, I've always believed that he will become undisputed champion. And this is the step before that. If he wins this fight, he will fight for the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. I have no doubt." Eddie Hearn firmly believes this fight is a crucial step towards Joshua becoming the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion. On the other hand, Frank Warren, Dubois' promoter, is confident in Dubois' ability to beat Joshua. He expressed pride in Dubois' success at just 26 and is excited about this match. Frank said, "I'm delighted at what Daniel achieved. I suppose from my ego point of view, I've always believed in him, believed he could do this, and he's done it. He's won, and he's now a world champion. All he's got to do now is to hold on to it on the 21st of September in a tough fight." Talking about the match with Joshua, Frank noted countless times that Dubois will have the upper hand in this fight due to his experience and growth in the game, and Joshua will be the one who faces the most trouble. Frank said, "It's going to put a lot of pressure on me. The pressure for this fight is all on AJ. It's not on Daniel. It's on AJ because a lot of people expect it to be, you know, I'm not saying it's a formality, but a lot of people fancy him to win." Boldly, Frank also warned Joshua, saying, "Daniel Dubois is going to knock AJ out." Other boxing pros are also buzzing about the September 21st event. Peter Fury seemed to be on Team Joshua, contributing to his vast experience and sheer strength. Peter said, "I think it would be a good fight. If I had to pick one right now, I have to pick AJ based on experience, speed, and just that sheer experience at that level. But, you know, don't underestimate it. Daniel's been improving a lot." Tyson Fury's trainer, Peter Fury, also believes both fighters are skilled enough to face each other, but he also thinks that Joshua is slightly more experienced and has the speed to dominate. He stated, "Very interesting one. They can both punch for sure. You'd have to go with Joshua because he has that experience and he's got that sharpness in the speed. He's mixed at that level as well, that very high level." Agreeing with Peter, Dave Coldwell believes Anthony Joshua has the upper hand due to his superior fighting style and boxing knowledge. He stated, "Dubois against AJ is a good fight. I think AJ is a favorite, but Dubois hits hard enough to knock AJ out, so it means it's a really good fight that you really don't know who's going to win." However, Dave also thinks Dubois could challenge Joshua with his powerful punches. He added, "AJ should win because he's a higher-level elite sort of fighter, an elite and experienced fighter, and former two-time heavyweight champion. So I would imagine that AJ wins the fight, but it would be a fight that you can't blink in. It's going to be a brilliant one." The drama began when Joshua and Dubois, along with their promoters, gave an exclusive interview. Dubois taunted Joshua, claiming he was ready to fight him right then to prove he wasn't intimidated. Joshua, visibly triggered, stood up to confront him, but the promoters intervened to prevent further escalation.
Let's go. Let's go.
But let's wait till the 21st.
Yeah, not in me in the middle, please.
If he wants to swing, go. Let's go now.
Sharp, relax. Relax.
If you want to go now, let's go.
Relax.
If you want to go now, let's go.
Chair across your face. Don't disrespect.
No, you can't intimidate
Don't
me.
disrespect.
You can't intimidate me.
Don't disrespect.
You can't intimidate me.
Daniel, don't
Who do you
disrespect.
think you are?
Daniel, don't disrespect me. Can't put this straight.
Eddie Hearn said Dubois was lucky, as Anthony doesn't tolerate threats or disrespect, and nearly coming to blows wasn't a smart move by Dubois. He said, "I'll tell you what AJ was up to there. He wanted to get his hands on him and kill him on the spot because he's a batter. And this is what you guys don't understand sometimes. You think that sometimes AJ plays the great corporate game. He is a very nice man. He's an unbelievable ambassador, and he has time for everyone. But he's also a bad guy that will take your head clean off at any moment." Mark Tibbs believes that Daniel Dubois holds a psychological advantage over Anthony Joshua.
That young man, he's young. and I feel he's got a little bit of a psychological edge over.
In all this drama, Simon Jordan predicts Anthony will win, but warns not to underestimate Dubois, who has strong punches that worked well against Filip Hrgović. He stated, "I give him a puncher's chance because that's what he is known for. He's not particularly sophisticated, he's a bit of a brawler, but if he hits Anthony Joshua and detonates on him, then he'll knock him out." But Anthony now is a different fighter. He's regained his composure, he is technically quite good, and I think he's got the ability to overcome Daniel. Showbiz the Adult, also a boxing commentator, has made shocking claims that Anthony will most probably win with a knockout because Dubois is slow-paced and not as aggressive as he should be against someone like Joshua, who is a master at timing his shots perfectly.
Dubois versus AJ, the problem with Dubois is this. Not just the fact that he gets caught over and over by the right hand, not just that, all right? Or by the right side of his face, or the left side of his face, rather. Not just that, but also the way Dubois fights. Dubois gives you opportunities. Dubois shoots the jab and he works slow. Against AJ, you got to be aggressive, either with crazy skill or aggressive with power. But you got to discourage AJ from letting his shit go. You got to discourage him. Dubois, all he does is give you the opportunity to let your shit go. Dubois starts with a jab, he works slow. And AJ is so good at timing, he's gonna knock out Dubois.
Looking at the stakes of this big fight, big promoters also stepped up to give their analysis. Kala, not missing a beat, thinks that Anthony would win with a knockout because he is the superior fighter of the two. However, he emphasized that Dubois is a great emerging young boxer who has had good fights, but it just is not his time yet. He stated, "I've got to go AJ by knockout. I just think that Daniel gets hit. Daniel's a young man. He'll come back from that. And when I say Daniel gets hit by AJ by a knockout, I mean like a later knockout. I'm sure Dan will have his moments. I just think that AJ, it's his time right now. And for me, it will be Daniel's time later. He's not quite there yet. That's my prediction." Spencer Fearon, however, thinks that it should not be even up for debate about who will win, as it is obvious that it would be Anthony Joshua. He stated, "I'm going to be real. You cannot be getting hit so freely with right hands from Hrgović, who doesn't hit like Anthony Joshua. And now Anthony Joshua has been rejuvenated and believes in his punching power." Moving on, Spencer commented, "It's trouble, it's worrying. This fight could end similarly to what we saw when Anthony Joshua knocked out Francis Ngannou." Joshua's training hard for this fight, focusing on his speed and timing. He's known for knockout power, catching opponents off guard like he did with Ngannou and Helenius. Dubois, newer but strong, hits hard like a hammer, though critics note his defense needs work, especially after the Hrgović fight. Trainer Don Charles defends Dubois, saying they're improving his defense and countering vulnerabilities, believing Dubois can exploit openings against Joshua. He said, "We're not ignorant, we're aware of it that he took far too many right hands against Hrgović. That was not the plan, and we will rectify that going into the Joshua fight." Don stated that he is aware of these shortcomings, but Dubois will show everyone on September 21st that he is not someone who can be bullied, and has made improvements during his training camp. Don added, "Let them keep doubting us. That gives us fuel." Meanwhile, Anthony's trainer Ben Davison believes that this will be an easy fight for Anthony to win, as he is someone who is always focused on the end goal and always sticks to the game plan that is given to him. Ben remarked, "When you say what it is that we do, it's just having a game plan. He understands to go in and execute. He's phenomenal at executing that, and I feel like there is very little room for error when you're fighting Anthony Joshua." Talking about Dubois, Ben made a bold claim that Anthony would be able to knock out Dubois early on in the fight, relying on the fact that he is the bigger and more skilled fighter in this fight. He said, "If I'm being honest, preparing properly and getting about to fight the right way, I wouldn't be shocked if AJ knocked him out quite early." During their press conference, Joshua made Dubois aware that he had kept his eyes peeled for him, but stressed his focus on arriving in peak condition. Joshua stated, "I picked Dubois to win against Hrgović. I watched boxing closely and I picked him before it came true, and we're here. So I've been having Dubois on my mind for a while, and he'll be on my mind for the next 12 weeks until I get my hand raised." Dubois, flanked by Frank Warren, sat meters away from Joshua as he previewed the fight in his own words. He said, "It feels different. I would have loved to win the IBF belt on the night of my last fight, but here we are. I'm blessed. We keep going. I'm learning more about myself, a fighter, a person, coming through the darkness, going into the light, and going into the future. I'm really up for this. I'm ready to go. Dubois is confident he can win this fight and is focused on preparing hard to beat Anthony Joshua. He stated, "I'm ready to let my fists do the talking. I'm 100% ready to go to camp, focused, and to train like a beast." However, if AJ emerges victorious, then he wants his man to face the winner of Usyk versus Fury 2 for the undisputed heavyweight crown. Joshua also trained with Dubois when the latter was part of the Great Britain squad, but says rumors he was floored by Dubois were wrong. AJ stated, "I knew Daniel from the GB squad. I just turned professional, but I stayed around the GB squad. I'd still train there, so we would spar, good spars. This whole conversation that you're trying to get at, he just cracked me with a good shot, but I stood on my feet. I don't know where this whole narrative that someone turned my lights off came from. There were a lot of people that were in the gym that day, and they came out and said nothing happened." Dubois said he has no interest in the past, adding, "I don't want to talk about no sparring or none of that. It happened 7 years ago, and to be honest, I can't remember that. I'm not here to spar him, I'm here to fight him. So let's keep it up." What I will say is that it was great being up there and sharing that experience with these guys that were at the top of their game. Another thing, speaking of sparring, people have mentioned sparring with me, and they've come unstuck, so I don't want any bad luck to follow me. Tyson firmly believed that Joshua was destined to be the heavyweight division's leading figure for many more years. While launching his Mike Tyson Academy franchise in Dubai, the seasoned boxer stated, "It's all going to be about Joshua and the heavyweights now. That one fight changed boxing." Tyson also added, "Joshua is still just a baby with 19 fights. It took me 28 fights to become world champion, but who cares? He's the champ. The sky's the limit for him now, and he is going to dominate the division and make so much money if he just keeps on doing what he's doing." The fight is 3 months away now, but the boxing world is already busy making their predictions for the winner. British boxer Scott Forrest also has the same perspective about Anthony Joshua. He believes that Joshua has much more experience than Daniel. He expressed his thoughts, saying, "I think AJ is too clever, and he is too strong. Daniel had a good fight, but you could see in the first few rounds that he wasn't 100% there. He did have a good performance, but I think AJ's too experienced. He's got too much on him." Barry McGuigan sees Joshua as the favorite due to his complete skills, but doesn't dismiss Daniel. He believes Daniel's knockout power gives him a chance, citing his win against Hrgovic despite struggles. McGuigan thinks Daniel deserves a shot against Joshua for his winning potential. He stated, "The thing about Dubois is that Dubois can punch so hard that it only takes a split second. You give him an opportunity, you create the space, you come over the top of a left jab. Anybody he hits, he can knock them out. Having said that, Joshua is the favorite, but you have got to give Dubois a chance with anybody. He was losing to Hrgovic. Hrgovic was beating him comprehensively, and then that cut happened, and it was all over. But he has got a tremendous punch, and you have got to give him a chance with anybody. Again, I make Joshua the favorite. Joshua is the more complete fighter. He is better all around. He can box and fight, so I definitely think that Joshua will be too much for him. Dubois has got a puncher's chance." Heavyweight contender Jerry Forrest thinks that Joshua can beat anybody. He said that Joshua is always ready to learn something new, and is a humble guy who is trying to get better, even though he has all the titles. Jerry believes that if Joshua keeps getting better like this, he will be victorious. He said, "I've got my money on Joshua versus anybody, besides myself. I believe Joshua can beat anybody. He's a worker. He's the truth. He wants to get better. He's very receptive. He listens. He's a good guy. Even when I come into the gym, I'm not a world champion. He has all the titles. He's listening to me in the sense of, let's take the advice, you know? So he's a humble guy that actually wants to get better in the sport. So, if he keeps progressing, man, this guy may be around 40 years old." Lawrence Okoli thinks that Joshua has to go for the early KO. He believes that Joshua has the ability to knock out Daniel in the early rounds, but acknowledges that Joshua would be in a race against time if he fought Dubois. If he doesn't get to him within a round or two, the younger fighter, who has a much better engine, will take him apart and chew him up, he stated. "You favor AJ because he's vastly experienced and has great speed and power, so he might be able to get a shot off quicker." He added, "If AJ lands a right hand clean the way Hrgovic landed, AJ can put anyone out. The problem is if Joshua doesn't get him out of there straight away, as we saw in Dubois' last fight against Hrgovic and against Gerald Miller, one thing Dubois is going to do is grit down and throw 2 or 3 punches at a time when he looks tired. He's going to keep going. I don't know how a man his size has that kind of engine, but he does. So I think it'll be up to AJ to get him out of there as quickly and as early as possible, establish himself in the fight, and dominate. Otherwise, it'll be a really hard night. Asked Ed if he wants Fury to beat Usyk, AJ said, "Yeah, in a way. I don't mind anymore whether he wins or loses. I just want to fight him. It's been dragging on. Fury ducks a lot of people. He doesn't fight many people, many top-tier people. He needs to get on with it and come and fight me and stop wasting my time. I don't want to wait until I'm 40, 41, 42 to fight him." However, revisiting Fury's banter with Usyk, Anthony Joshua finds Tyson Fury unqualified to take boxing to newer heights and calls him an idiot. He stated, "I'm glad Fury isn't the undisputed champion. I've always said he's an idiot. He's very disrespectful. He has to step on people to make himself feel good. The way he disrespected Usyk, rabbit this and middleweight that, it's not good for the sport. If I respect you and you respect me, we can lift this sport up and make people think we are two of the most elite fighters in the world. But Fury will step on you and make you look like a guy who's just walked out of a pub. Then he goes and gets spanked. He deserves it." Usyk stayed unbeaten and took Fury's zero by beating the Gypsy King in May, and the pair are set for a rematch in Riyadh in December. Laying out a 5-fight plan in February before his inaugural encounter with Usyk, Fury said, "I've got 2 fights with Usyk for the undisputed, twice. Then I'm going to fight AJ Joshua, at least once, maybe twice if there's a rematch, if he wants one after the first battering I give him. Then, I'm going to fight Francis Ngannou again, and that's just the start. So there are 5 little fights for you to whet your appetite with. I ain't going nowhere." When asked about a potential matchup between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, Warren stated that Tyson announced the rematch soon after the fight. "There are obviously 1 or 2 whispers and rumors about Anthony Joshua potentially fighting Fury. You're 100% sure Tyson Fury takes the rematch?" Warren replied, "He announced it in the ring, and he told me he wants it. It's contracted before the event took place. There is a contract in place for it." Both Fury and AJ lost to Usyk, with Fury suffering a brutal points defeat in their undisputed fight in May. Former champion Carl Froch now tips AJ for success, citing his recent strong form. He said, "I've always thought Fury beats Joshua. I think he's too fast, too light on his feet, good movement, more of a natural talent. He's boxed from a younger age. He has that flair and ability, his distance, his timing. There are so many things he does right that you can't teach. Head movement, feints." What do you think about AJ versus Dubois? Can you imagine AJ facing Tyson soon? Share your thoughts in the comments below.